What's up everybody, Icebreaker here. Do you ever look at the crab global leaderboard and think to yourself, how the hell do people get to such high levels on crab? 184, 205, how do they do it? Well, stick around guys, because I'm going to tell you all the secrets you need to know to crab like an absolute beast. As you can see, I'm on stage 117, I've still got 19 attacks left. I'm currently 19th in the UK, but we're going to show you some tricks, I'm going to give you some tips, and I'm going to tell you exactly how we do it. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so this is my main account. This is the account that I play hard on crab. I push for, I push for the local leaderboards, I push for the global leaderboards. Conquered many stage miles. I've done 100, 150, I've done 200 stages. My personal best is 214. I've had 2 UK #1 finishes, and I finished as high as 11th global once. See, I've got all legendary trophies, got a nice glowing crab account, which we'll go into right now. Obviously, for the purpose of this video, I am using a max level account. My armory is all maxed out, and my heroes are all maxed out. The abilities that I need for crab are all maxed out. This is a pure crab account. Everything that I've done in this account has been focused for pushing crab. So the first thing we're going to look at is statues. As you can see, I've got 1 GBE. I've got lots of troop damage, and I've got a few troop health. Right now, I'm running 164, which is 1 GBE, 6 TD, and 4 troop health. When I first started this crab on Friday, I was only running 173. So it was 1 GBE, 7 troop damage, 3 troop health. But to do really well on crab, you have to have statues in your statue shed to be able to change to when you need to continue pushing. Now, there's a reason for this particular combination of statues, and that's because when you look at Mega Crab and you look at these stages and stuff, the only thing you really need to worry about is that, and that's the core. That's the thing you need to get to and destroy, okay? But all of these things, all the defenses and stuff, are all in your way, okay? Now, the fastest way to get through those defenses is with lots of troop damage. The faster you can grind out through those defenses and get to that core and kill it, the more solos you will do. The more solos you do, obviously, the higher stages you'll reach. One of the things to note, guys, about your statues is while you're crabbing, you need to be watching what your boom cannons are doing to your troops. Now, the reason why I say this is because a lot of crab stages you need to use tank loadouts. I know that goes against the grain with a lot of people. You know, using tanks, they're too slow, they suck, rah rah rah. But for crab, tanks are the meta. They have been for a very long time, which is one of the reasons why lots of troop damage is essential, because also using tanks, you need to maximize every shot. And whilst you're doing that, whilst you're grinding through the stages, you need to be keeping an eye on boom cannons. Now, if it's getting to the point where a boom cannon can almost one-shot, or if they can one-shot your tanks, you're not running enough troop health. You want your tanks to be able to take at least 2 shots. Ideally more, but we'll get onto that. So that's it. That's when it comes down to statues, guys. That's the important stuff. Troop damage is faster attacks. It's taking less losses because you're getting rid of the defenses quicker. Now the troop health is, like I said, about stopping boom cannons from one-shotting your tanks, but also it's for Mr. Bullet and his energy drink. The more troop health statues you have, the less you will need to use energy drink. Now, as you get higher up the stages tend to look the same, or very similar, the same style layouts, the same shapes, but you do get less cryo bombs, you get more mines, and you get more ice the higher you get up. So Bullet needs to have a healthy amount of health to make his drink go the furthest. The more troop health statues you have, the more boost you will get from your energy drink using Bullet. Right, okay guys, let's take a look at troops. Troop compositions and loadouts that I use, and well, a lot of crab pushers use, are, like I said before, are tank based loadouts. Before the days of the Bombardier, it was all tanks and Bullet energy drink, otherwise known as banks. But since the introduction of the Bombardier, he has taken over the absolute role of everything when it comes to crabbing. He is an absolute game changer for Mega Crab. He's completely and utterly revolutionized the meta for crab. Almost any loadout you use for crab, it should have Bombardiers in there. Now, the way this troop combo works is you have Bullet out front with his energy drink. You have the tanks in behind them, spread out a little bit, who are then protecting the Bombardiers who are behind the tanks. The trick is to let them spread, let them clear, try not to flare around too much, and yeah, clear the world. Obviously with all the troop damage, only takes 1 or 2 shots just to get rid of defences and buildings and stuff. Another loadout that's quite useful for Mega Crab is RZCM, which is rifles, cryos, Zookas and medics. Now you wouldn't use this on a layout that has a billion mines, obviously, but you wouldn't use it against a map either that has lots of rocket launchers, lots of mortars, shock launchers, lasers, splash damage defenses in general. You want to avoid this troop combo with lots of splash damage, which makes it particularly effective against layouts that have lots of single shot defenses like cannons, snipers, boom cannons, those types of defenses. When you've got lots and lots of them, things that will hurt Bullet really fast, if you've got lots of those, which kind of rules out using TBM, you use RZCM instead. So you've got rifles out front, you've got the Zookas doing the damage behind, you've got the medics working to keep everybody healthy, and you've got the boat of cryos there to slow down the defences from shooting at your rifles and at your Zookas. We've got Scorchers as well, all Scorchers. These are making an absolute mess on crab just recently. The last couple of crab weekends, we've seen a lot of Scorcher attacks, because obviously now they cost less GBE to land, and now you get 2 per boat as well, which is absolutely huge. Again, with lots of troop damage and decent amount of troop health, you can absolutely rip through a stage in absolutely no time with these bad boys. So they definitely shouldn't be forgotten about. They're a real good combo to use for crab. We also have Scorcher Tank Bombardier Medic, which looks like that. And the situation where you would use this is where you have a stage that you want to use TBM for, but it seems, there's one of those ones where you get hundreds of rocket launchers from one side and lots of cannons and stuff from the other side. You would drop Bullet out front on the cannon side, and you drop the Scorchers out on the rocket launcher side, and then play it as a TBM hit like that. Basically, the boat Scorchers is like having a second Bullet. They just protect the tanks, which help protect the Bombardiers for longer. So that's the way you use that one. You can also use a boat of Grens in with the TBM loadout. Again, it'd be Bullet out front, tanks, and then Bombardiers. But the one boat of Grens, you might not think, it won't be that useful, but for the stages that have hundreds and hundreds of mines, especially when you get up over 100, some of the stages are absolutely covered, littered in mines, hundreds and hundreds of them. But that one boat of Grens there will help you clear those mines, because when they miss the defences, they blow the mines up. So that's one troop combo that you need to look out for using, because that can be pretty good advantage. You could also add in a boat of rifles, guys. Instead of the Grens or the Scorchers, a boat of rifles can be useful for landings that have lots of simmos, lots of snipers, lots of cannons, things like that. Things that will zap bullet of his health pretty quick. You can throw a boat of rifles in there in the mix to a distraction, which will help bullet survive a little bit longer. The other advantage of having rifles is with simmos is they'll always target the troop that has the lowest health. So in this situation right now, the simmo would target the rifles before the medics or the gramps and before bullet. So a boat of rifles on the landing can save you 2 or 3 hits of energy drink, helping you keep bullet for later on in the stage. If you know he's going to be thirsty through the hit because of lots of single point damage, then this is a good little trick you can use to overcome the landing. And it's a similar story with a boat of heavies too. You can use the boat of heavies for distraction against a bunch of cannons or shock launchers, shock blasters, things like that. A boat of heavies can be pretty good distraction on one side of the beach while bullet is on the other side of the beach, or the other end of the beach, distracting for you. And the boat of heavies will stick around long enough, hopefully, to clear all the defenses that need to be done, saving you some GBE on shocks and critters that you might need later on in the attack. So when it comes to using troops, guys, it's all about being smart and making troop selections that are going to help for mainly the start of the attack or the end of the attack. Everything that happens in the middle is just clearing the world and looking after taking out mines, shocking things that need to be shocked, etc. But yeah, your troop combos, guys, are absolutely key when it comes to crabbing. If you're just using the same old troop combo from stage 1 to stage 60, by the time you get there, you're only going to have 10-15 attacks left. Whereas playing a little bit smart, thinking about your hits and thinking about your landing and what can help, will help you get to stage 60 with maybe 30 attacks instead. So troop combos, guys, think outside the box. Okay, guys, let's take a look at heroes. Now, obviously, Mrs. Brick isn't going to be all that useful when you're using a crab account. Only time I really use Brick on crab is for, say, the first 20 or so stages, when I drop all Scorchers and Mrs. Brick, and they just clear everything for the first 20 stages. You don't really need to babysit. You can force close the game for the first 20 stages with max level account Scorchers. Just drop them and let them go. But if you do use it, if there are some times when you can use Heavy Zuka or AZ on rare occasions, then obviously Mrs. Brick will be your choice for some of those. Moving on to Dr. Gavan. Second Wind is obviously the no-brainer here. Bringing your troops back, the more troops you've got on the field, the more damage you can keep per second, the faster you're going to get through the stage, the faster you're going to get to core, the more likely you are to solo. I sometimes use Kavan with RZCM or all Scorchers. He's also good with quite good with all Scorchers because he can bring a Scorchers back now as well with max level Second Wind. Very rare occasion, Ice Shield is worth a good pop, but that is a rare one, and Crystal Critters aren't worth it at all. Moving on to Sparky. Now, this is my particular favourite troop for RZCM, Heavy Zuka, Smoky Rushes and stuff, because you can use Critter Swarm for clearing mines, or distraction whilst you're clearing with RZCM, and the remote is really good for when you're trying to clear a free snipe. If you smoked up into a corner, say, and there's like a shock launcher just out of range of the troops, but it's still a problem, then you can use the remote there to hack that defense after they've cleared the rest, giving you your free snipe. But the man of the show really for Mega Crab is definitely without doubt Bullet. You can use taunt with all scorchers. You can use taunt with TBM in some cases. You can use it with HZ, RZCM, all of it. He's great all-rounder. And as you can see, I've got all 3 of his abilities maxed out. Energy drink is my go-to for TBM, tank-based compositions, because it's he's out front tanking with a few troop help statues. He goes on for quite a while before you need to use a drink. Shock Knuckles is good in some cases with RZCM, and sometimes with TBM. It really depends on the situation. Things to note about the Shock Knuckles though are you can stun your own troops, so you need to be aware of that. So using them with all scorchers and stuff, sometimes you can catch your own scorchers, because obviously bullet gets left behind while the scorchers run off into the defenses. But energy drink all day long, it's brilliant for Crab. It's definitely the one you want. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you a couple of attacks and I'll explain to you what I'm doing and why, to hopefully give you an idea of sort of how my mindset plays out while we're pushing Crab. So you can see it's one of these ones that's got lots of mines. This is a stage at 112, I think this one is. Obviously Halloween Crab. So first thing I'm doing is getting rid of a few cryo bombs, dropping the tanks down with the bombardiers spread out behind them. Not worrying too much about the scary mortars on this one, because we can just let them clear those few shield gens there first of all. We can flare down to there. I've put the deployable turret there just for distraction for a few seconds. Now it's really just a case now of letting them clear, finding out what path Bullet is going to take. The ideal situation right now would be for Bullet to go left towards these boom cannons and the doom cannon, and the worst option out of the two really would be to go right, which is what he does, because this stuff here can't really take out your tanks, so you don't need to babysit that too much. So if he goes left, you don't need to use as much GBE. If he goes right, you're going to have to use your GBE babysitting these cannons and the sniper towers, because they're going to take the tanks out really quick. So as you can see, he does go right. So straight away, got my shots coming out on the left, followed by some critters, and then we're going to try and keep those boom cannons and stuff distracted before they can pick off all my tanks. Whilst I'm doing that, you also need to keep an eye on Bullet's health, because you don't want him getting down too low. And we're using critters and barrage to clear out mines. We're using bottom flares, which is where you sort of flare behind one of the troops where you want the rest of the troops to be, to bring all the other troops to that spot, but you're not wasting any time by waiting for all of the troops to get there, because some are already there. And so by using that bottom flare means that the troops are still there clearing, so they're still doing their thing, clearing the defenses for you, but they're not having to run 3/4 of the way across the map to catch up. That's one of the main things you want to be thinking about when you're doing your attacks, especially on the bigger stages. Flaring around, you need to time your flares. You want to be flaring over to pull your troops back in together when it's safe to do so. Doing it when you've got 20 rocket launchers facing you isn't the best play, because they're all going to get smoked in one spot by all the rocket launchers. Splash damage will take out them all. So you need to be timing your flares really well to make them count without costing you a bunch of troops. Hey guys, so this is one of the really common shape stages you get. Now, back in the day, before the days of the Bombardier, you'd have to clear one side, get the shield gens, and then smoke round to this side and get those shield gens, and then get to core. But since the introduction of the Bombardier, that's not so much of an issue anymore, especially when you've got lots and lots of troop damage statues, because once you get enough damage per second, if you can get all your Bombardiers lined up properly, as you can see, they're all spread out there behind the tanks, just babysitting the left side there just until the shock launcher and that stuff goes down. So as you can see, these guys over here are basically on the core, but we need to watch that rocket launcher up there. Bullets is where I wanted him to be, protecting these tanks here from all of this junk over here, while these couple of bombardiers in the back shoot over the gap and take out a shield gen, or sometimes two, depending on the layout and the situation and how the hit's playing out. Sometimes you can get two of those shield gens, like so, and then I flare back over, got some med kits down because I know that rocket launcher is going to pound them while Bullet and the tanks get back into position, so we're looking after the bombardiers. But the bombardiers then rip through the shield and rip through the core in around about a minute or so. The troop health statues keep Bullet in the fight long enough to let it all come together there at the end to get the solo. Okay, so like I said before, crab stages are all about getting to the core. If you can get the core down, you move on to the next stage and you save yourself a hit. If you think of it as you've got 40 fails per crab, and that's your maximum. Once you fail 40 times to kill the core, then your crab is over. With lots of troop damage statues, that becomes a lot easier. So the way to look at it is each and every stage is a race against the clock, because that's the one thing you've really got to beat. Once you've got your statues down and you're comfortable with your statue combo and you're comfortable with using the troop combos that you need to do, and recognizing what troops are best for the stage that you are on, then it all comes down to it's a race against the clock. How fast can you get through the stage to take out that core? The faster you can do that, the more solos you will have, and the better crab you'll do, the more stages you'll get to do. So yeah guys, that is pretty much the essence of Mega Crab. I always ask, how much money did you spend getting to stage 200? Well, I didn't spend any money getting to stage 200. I buy instant training every month anyway, so I've always got instant training going on. Could you do a 200 stage crab push without instant training? Probably not, unless you're going to use loads of diamonds. But instant training doesn't give you the ability to have stronger troops or better statues or anything like that. It's literally just a time save. So yeah, there's nothing you can... There's no pay to win aspect to it as such, unless you want to go for the leaderboards, and then you have to have instant training. But even that, it's not really a pay to win, if you know what I mean. You're not paying to make your troops stronger, you're not paying to have more attacks, but you are paying for a quality of life improvement of instant training. That does make a pretty big deal to how well you do on crab. Obviously, if you've got to wait for troops to cook every time, if you're using RZCM on one stage, you might need TBM for the following stage, and then all scorchers for the stage after that. If you're waiting to cook troop loadouts in between those stages, it's going to drag on. You're probably not going to get to use all your attacks. So instant training, guys, is definitely 110% worth it. Not just for crab, but for the whole game. Boom Beach, instant training is an absolute game changer. So if you haven't tried it, get and try it. I bet you'll love it, and it's so worth it, guys. It really is, especially for crab, obviously. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Things to take away from this are crab stages are a race against the clock. It's how fast you can get to them. It's not about how many attacks it's going to take you to do that stage. It's do the stage as quick as possible, as efficiently as possible, by using the right troops for the stage that you are on, and having statues that are appropriate for whatever your playstyle is, really. If you're a VP pusher, you're going to have some ice statues out. If you're a crab pusher like me, I'm going to have lots of troop damage out. If you're an operation player, you probably got a mix of GBE and troop damage. You know, there's different ways to play it, but we're doing really well on crab. If you want to crush 100 plus stages, then get yourself a crab account. They are absolutely by far the best way to play Boom Beach. They're definitely more fun than an operation account. Lots of people will disagree with that, controversial, but there it is. But yeah, guys, if you've got any questions, then you can leave them in the comments below, or maybe we'll chat next time I'm live. Catch you later, guys. Happy crabbing. Bye.